It's the beginning of the month, which means it's time for a new sheet load of cards, and I'll be making my sheet load today using scraps. Hey guys, it's Beth. Welcome. It is January, which means it's time for a new sheet load of cards from Call Me Crafty Al. Each month, Alicia provides a sketch, supply list, and cut list for you. It gives you everything you need to make a set number of cards. This month it is 9 cards, and this month I have decided to use scraps. I have card mats that were made from scraps, and then the panels here, all the different pieces in this grid I have cut from scraps. I did bring in some cardstock for this mat here, but let's go ahead and get some cards put together and I can tell you more about the sheet load. This is a collaboration, so there is a link to a playlist down in the description box below that you can click on, and it will take you to the videos of all the participants for this month's collaboration. Alicia has a collaboration team that each month we all use the sheet load to put together our own cards. There's also a link in the description box that takes you to Call Me Crafty Al's channel, and she tells you, kind of gives you information about how to assemble the cards, any tips or tricks, and then she also gives you information on how you can download the current month's printable. She also has a channel membership that if you would like to access archived, previous month's versions of the sheet load, that is one of the perks of her channel membership. But if you just need the current month's, all you have to do is be a subscriber to her channel. So I'm just going to be assembling a couple cards with you. I have various scrap pieces of pattern paper that I'm using, but I do have the same kind of light gray mat for that panel right there. And then I have a matching strip of that light gray as well that I will be using, and that just kind of ties all of the cards together. And then the sentiment that I'm using, it is one that I printed from my silhouette. I don't have a ton of good big winter stamps or winter stamps that would fit a circle element, so I opted to print them out. And then in order to pop my sentiment up a little bit, I am using some scrap craft cardstock just to act kind of as the foam squares. It's just an additional way to help me use up some scraps. So since I have various scrap pieces and patterns there, I am trying to find ones that would work with the card mats. And so you see me kind of hunting and searching here to find ones that I want to use together. And then I can get them on the card. So they all tend to work really well with the gray, even though there's a mix of, like, here's some greens, there's that white kind of knit pattern, there's blues, there's black and white. They all seem to still work well with the gray, which is why I went with kind of a neutral gray as my mat for those panels. So, and again, if you recognize this particular sketch, it's because it has been I believe it was Kendra's Card Challenge 12, I think is what I said earlier. It was one of the sketches from last quarter's challenge, so you may have seen it there as well. I'm just excited about this challenge because I love both of Kendra's and Alicia's sketches. It's fun to kind of now use them together. Now I'm trying to find a card mat panel that those patterns will work on and finally settle on kind of like that muted blue plaid. And I do add scraps to the inside of all my cards, so that is just an additional way that I'm using up the scraps this month. Trying to just clear stuff out, going into a new year, trying to minimize the scraps and the clutter that I'm taking with me into the new year, paper-wise. Those are my 2 cards, and here are the scraps that I'm using. I have a pile off to the side there of ones that are good for the insides of the cards. And then I will be back and show you the rest of the cards that I made. I had originally cut a variety of scraps down into the different panels, and I didn't really pay attention to the number that I was cutting. And so I just kept making cards. These are the cards I ended up with. And I ran out of card mats before I ran out of scraps that went for the panels. So I just did some kind of various color combinations, tried to pick contrasting panel pieces that went with the mat that I was using. And I ended up with like 15 cards, I think. So went over the 9, but just kind of got in that groove and was using up the scraps. So anyway, this was really fun. I had a lot of fun just trying to use up my scraps and playing with the sketch. So these are my cards. All of the participants for the design, the collaboration team tend to have a slightly different take on the SheetLoad, so it's always fun to see how everybody else, you know, uses the sketch for their own cards. So please be sure to check that playlist down in the description box below. Also check out Call Me Crafty Owl's link down in the description box below, where she tells you how you can get the SheetLoad for free. Thank you guys so much for your time today, and hope you all have a very crafty day.